Welcome back again today. The Zanj Rebellion, which lasted for 10 years from 871 to 881, was a major uprising that occurred in southern Iraq today under the Abbasid Caliphate. It involves thousands of enslaved East Africans, known as the Zanj, who had been brought to the region to perform hard labor under extremely oppressive conditions. Now, Zanj is a Muslim term which refers to the lower East African area, such as Tanzania, Zanzibar. And at this time, the empire was slowly deteriorating and starting to fall as well. And this was one of the blemishes or marks and one of the biggest slave revolts in history, if not the biggest, that most people don't even know about. Now, there's conflicting opinions and beliefs about who led the slave revolt. Some believe that it was a multi-ethnic group or multiracial group that led the slave revolt, and others believe that it was primarily or majority of the enslaved East Africans that were in there. Its scale, duration, and political impact make it a significant event in the history of slavery and the resistance in the Islamic world. Arab traders had long engaged in the Indian Ocean slave trade, transporting enslaved individuals to various parts of the Islamic world. In Iraq, many Zanj slaves were used for agricultural labor in the salt marshes around Basra. One of the most economically and strategically important cities in the empire. These slaves were forced to clear soil in order to make it arable for plantation agriculture. The work was grueling and unsanitary, and the slaves were subjected to inhumane treatment, poor living conditions, and little hope for freedom. The concentration of large numbers of the Zanj in the region created a volatile situation as they shared a common background and similar grievance. Once mobilized, the Zanj rebels began a systematic campaign of attacks against the empire's forces and settlements in the region. They sacked several towns, including Basra, and built fortified cities, the most important of which was, and excuse my pronunciation, Al-Muqtara. This would be the established capital of their movement. The rebels demonstrated sophisticated military tactics and administrative organization, enabling them to hold territory for extended periods. Their control stretched across parts of southern Iraq, and they threatened key empire interests in the region for over a decade. The empire's government, preoccupied with internal strife and other rebellions, initially underestimated the seriousness of the Zanj uprising. As the rebellion expanded and began to threaten vital economic and political centers, the caliphate responded with increasing forces. The turning point in the rebellion came when the king gave his brother the command of the military against the Zanj Rebellion. The brother would organize a strategic counteroffensive, gradually recapturing rebel-held territory through a combination of siege warfare, strategic alliances, and battles. The campaign to suppress the Zanj Rebellion lasted several years. The king's brother eventually captured the rebellion's capital in 883. The rebellion was dismantled, and many of the remaining rebels were executed or re-enslaved, and the kingdom's control was re-established in the region. The rebellion had significant consequences for the empire. Although the empire survived the uprising, the rebellion exposed the danger of relying on large, concentrated populations of enslaved laborers in politically sensitive areas. It also demonstrated the potential for organized resistance among enslaved populations. The rebellion contributed to the gradual decline of plantation-style slavery in southern Iraq and forced the empire administration to reevaluate its labor and military policies. The rebellion was not a spontaneous or isolated event, but rather a prolonged and well-organized uprising against systematic exploitation and oppression. Please like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you get all my videos. I'll be on all social medias. And until next time, peace. One love.
So catch me if I fall.